In the morning, I check the headlines on Google News, send some personal email using Google's Gmail. I may check Google Maps for driving directions. Later at work, I remember to do a Google search for plumbers. I also need to do research for this story. More searches. Later, I'll glance at my Google Calendar for appointments, upload some videos to YouTube, and maybe I'll log on to Google+, the company's growing social network. And some variation of this happens almost every single day.
Google knows almost everything about you.
That's why privacy watchdogs like Peter Eckersley are sounding the alarm about Google's new privacy policy. Beginning next month, the company is going to keep track of your activity across all of its sites and build a profile of you. Google says it will use the information to improve its services. Services where, for example, a user is more likely to get better search results.
We'll understand that when you search for Jaguar, you're looking for a Jaguar.
Critics say the company is stomping on privacy to bolster its advertising and in turn increase its profits.
If there are things that you want to keep private about your life, those records are all in there. If there are things that you actually need to prevent other people from knowing about you, those will be in there.
Those already nervous about the company's influence pounced when it became known last week that Google exploited a known weakness in Apple's Safari browser, bypassing the browser's privacy settings.
When I first found what Google was doing, I thought I had it wrong. I thought I had to have it wrong.
Jonathan Mayer is the Stanford researcher who uncovered the Safari breach. On the surface, he says it may not seem like a serious transgression. Google's code was being used only to target ads, and users' personal information was never collected. But for some, web searches believed to be private were not. And that, Mayer says, opens the door to private information being exposed by rogue employees, internet hacking, and more.
Does it get disclosed because an employee is evil, because the company messes up? Does it get disclosed because the government demands it?
Microsoft says Google is not playing nice with privacy preferences and is finding ways to avoid following a user's privacy settings in Internet Explorer browsers. This reveal comes days after the Wall Street Journal reported that Google found a way to get around privacy settings in Apple's Safari web browsers so it can make money off ad tracking cookies. Days after that report, Microsoft said that Google was also skirting its browser rules and using code to continue to track users' web habits with cookies, even if the user specified in settings that they did not want to be tracked.
32 state attorneys general recently wrote a letter to Google CEO Larry Page calling the new policy an invasion of privacy. And some regulatory agencies in the European Union warn that the new policy might be a violation of the EU's data protection rules. Lori Andrews is professor at the Illinois Institute of Technology, Chicago Kent College of Law, and author of the new book, I Know Who You Are and I Saw What You Did, Social Networks and the Death of Privacy. For the record, we invited Google to join us, but the company declined. Lori Andrews, as the title of your book suggests, you're one of those who's raised concerns about privacy online. What concerns do you have about what Google is now doing?
Well, Google at heart is an advertising platform. It makes 96% of its money, or $36 billion a year, by targeting ads. So this new policy allows them to target ads across platforms. So if I send an email over Gmail to a divorce lawyer, and then I do a Google search for depression, if I then am watching a YouTube video with a young son, ads will pop up related to divorce and mental health, which might trouble him. This private information of mine will become visible. And Google has erred in the past. In 2010, when young people went on Google chat rooms to say, I'm thinking of committing suicide with X chemical, a Google ad would pop up immediately saying, dial 1-800 blah, 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 2 for 1, get that chemical. It's not fear-mongering when people are losing their jobs or losing benefits as a result of this. Google's collecting this information, including things that people say they do not want. All the surveys of consumers suggest they'd rather not be tracked over the internet. And things happen, such as if you do a Google search about a health condition, and you might be doing it for your mother or someone else. Then if you go to a health insurance site or a life insurance site, that's thought to represent you. They don't need my name to have my data and use it against me. Plus, Google announces policies saying one benefit is that we're going to track you. And so if your Google Calendar says you are supposed to be at an appointment and we can tell from your GPS you're far away, we'll send you a Google map to get you there faster. Well, the problem is Google does nothing to prevent third parties from using that information. In fact, 93% of the time when the government asks for information, your private searches, GPS data, it turns it over. Employers now are asking for your private passwords. So the employer might use that same information that Google is touting as a benefit to say, oh, your GPS location shows that you were at a competitor or at your lover's house. We're already seeing people losing jobs. 1/3 of employers say that they won't hire someone if on their social network page there's a picture of them with wine in their hand. But we have a variety of people in Congress, Congressman Markey, Senator Al Franken, very concerned about this. It doesn't reflect what the public wants. You're asking people to give up a very important right. We wouldn't allow companies to say, oh, the only way you'll get our services is if you give up your right to vote or your right to have children. Privacy is a fundamental right. The surveys of what consumers want is much different, and we're seeing pushback. A lot of class actions that consumers have won. Nebuad, a company in California, actually put hardware on internet service providers and collected for 400,000 people in California every email, every Skype call, every Google search. That information is being traded on, and you don't have a choice. Google's saying, if you want to use our services, this is the way it is. Take your business elsewhere.